culture that's right to type. Today's top story. In 2016, Colin Kaepernick led a silent protest against police brutality, specifically brutality against African Americans. Over the weeks, months, and years, the narrative of the protest by large had switched to him and other athletes disrespecting the flag, the nation, and the troops. Nearly 4 years later, police brutality against unarmed detained African Americans still continues, and no more so than with the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officers. In the days and weeks since there has been protests, both peaceful and violent, riots and looting all across the nation. I'd say that this is something that has hit all of us as a whole, and I always thought that it was one of those things where, and I said this earlier, I was having a conversation with my dad, it was like, not just the country, but the entire world was kind of galvanized together because of the coronavirus. Mm. You know, the coronavirus took, and it didn't care about your age or your race or your, you know, your status, indiscriminately, without regret. So it was a common enemy, you know. People were working together and stuff like that to try to get, and then we were just cooped up in the house for so long, a lot of people just started feeling that stir craziness. And then, of course, the ugliness of racism reared its, you know,
its ever-present head. Yes.
Yeah. And this thing took off watching the video when I did for the first time. Watching it, I was disgusted, I was mad, I was angry, all the emotions came across, you know. I was looking at it, I was like, here we go again. You know, I did not see what happened, but I can, you know, looking, you know, hindsight is 2020, I can see why, you know, everything erupted the way it did.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is just a giant boil just was ready to bust, you know what I'm saying?
Another thing is
all the anger underneath.
It always seems like all these things always happen somewhere else, and then this is like even here in Fairfield, you know, we had riots and looting, which was crazy. It was like, what's going on? And like they were going through it, and one of my biggest fears is like when the protests and everything was going on, you know, I'm 100% behind them. I understand. I'm for them. I just strongly felt that when it comes to the media and stuff, I didn't want that narrative to change. Like the protests were for something very specific. The rioting and the looting, that's going to happen when, you know, that happens when Philly wins the big game. You know, there's going to be riots and there's going to be looting, you know, but, you know, that they don't really, rioters and looters, they're going to come out for any reason, you know, and I just don't want that to all get swept in, because sometimes that broad stroke brush is like, oh yeah, they have to go hard against the protesters. I saw images, and again, these are just video clips, so you don't really know the whole story. Mm-hmm. You know, a camera could capture what it wants, but I saw
it's pretty undeniable.
I saw some pretty peaceful protests and then get steamrolled. And I even read today that the 74-year-old man who had got shoved down and cracked the back of his head and he was bleeding all over, that there's no...
They're being charged with felonies.
Oh yeah, I got their mug shots right here. Like, well, wow. Actually not their mug shots, but...
What bothered me the most, I mean, that was bad. But one of the cops leaned over to help him, and another cop grabbed him and pulled him forward. Yeah. I was like, wow, the difference. You know?
And the thing is, it wasn't just somebody with a cell phone that caught that image. It was actually a camera crew that caught it. And they were live on air because you can hear the anchor guy at the desk going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, and the other person saying, hey, we're, you know, journalists.
And speaking of all the stuff that live camera crews have caught, even out here, where the camera crew and the anchor was arrested by the police. Wasn't that awesome?
How about
God, live
people
on
who
air.
ran to the defense of a storefront, against looters, was pushing the looters away? The police arrested
Arrested
them.
Hey,
held
help us out. The
them.
looters
They
are
said
here.
if the camera crew hadn't been there and caught the whole thing, they'd probably been charged.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those slippery slopes too, because by no stretch of the imagination am I saying all police are bad and they're all guilty. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm in trouble. I'm calling the police. Hey, the people are here. I'm calling the police.
Well,
just has to be. I mean,
but there's a fundamental problem with the police. You could say, okay, let's say 2 or 3% of them are bad.
Mm-hmm.
They have their blue wall of silence.
There's that 90.
Like I told my cousin, even good cops will let the world burn before they turn in one of their own.
Mm-hmm.
They don't speak up against dirty officers. So that's their shame. And I think that's probably the biggest difference between the military and the police. Police will let the whole world burn before they turn in their own guy.
Well,
And that's their shame.
I agree.
They should all be ashamed. The blue wall of silence has been up for hundreds of years and it hasn't dropped yet.
I mean, the simplest way is nobody ever made a song that said F the fire department.
Yeah, you don't see a fireman chopping someone up in a house and the other fireman, we're just going to cover for him. Don't stop them.
Yeah.
We're just going to cover for them.
Yeah.
And do anything we can to cover.
I know.
For them. That's bad.
I know. It's
disgusting.
And I know they're trying to do the defunding of the police department. I honestly, I don't know if that's the answer. I really don't.
I don't think that the cops should be out there in full
Military
gear.
They don't
all the
need
time.
tanks.
They don't need a tank. They've got
We were shocked when we first heard that they had passed a federal law saying that they could use military equipment because they don't have any military training.
There you go.
So what are they going to do with a tank other than run somebody over?
I don't disagree. I truly don't know if defunding of the police probably,
I think it's not my idea, of course, but I love it. People have been screaming for it. Cameras on the cops. Do not allow them to make them all wear them. Do not allow them to turn them off or cover them up when they're on duty.
Mm-hmm.
If
what are you
they
doing? I'm covering my body.
If they do, they'll have to explain why in court, because we need a law that says they have that camera on at all times.
Yeah.
Because turn it off or cover it up and explain why you did that in court of law.
Yeah.
That would be I don't know the solution, but it would definitely help.
Right.
JB, next story.
All right.
Let's tone it down.
You're just full of laughs today.
Yeah, I know.
Star Wars: The High Republic, a series of interconnected novels and comics following the Jedi Order in a period of approximately 200 years. I heard it was 400 years.
Okay.
200 years before the events of the Star Wars movies has, due to general marketplace delays in these unprecedented times, been pushed back to a January 2021 launch.
Damn you, Corona!
I was trying to catch up with what we were doing on YouTube, but I got stuck on these Star Wars videos. Apparently, they're releasing a video game, High Republic, as kind of a warm-up to the movie, and it looks like a pretty good one.
I heard pretty much what I gathered from this is everything High Republic, because there's two. They're coming out, but it's apparently due to the coronavirus, like everything else, that things got detained and slowed down, and people working from home and trying their best. But it is what it is. I mean, it's just I hate using the phrase "our new normal" because I think we are going to get to a place where it's
I think we'll be a little more careful, but I don't think it'll be a new normal. Disease has been top of the food chain since we've been around, and we have not put a dent in it. The more we evolve and medicine evolves, disease evolves, and it just comes back. Weather the storm.
Bigger, stronger. Yeah. They got new VD.
Big there blows up.
Lassen County in
I set up his fire. I was like, to get the flames over.
He said there's a burning sensation.
No.
You urinate? No. Bye. I should off my dick. Lassen County in Northern California was one of the first places in the state to reopen in early May, but has now become the first to reverse course because of resulting coronavirus outbreaks. Also, over 1,000 new infections have been reported every day in Florida, the longest sustained increase in the state since early April. Color me surprised. Florida, really?
Yeah. I actually fear also with all of the, it was like we were all on timeout for so long, and as soon as they said, all right, you guys can kind of go out a little bit, all hell broke loose. And and now I feel like now it's gonna be a long summer, man. It's gonna be a long summer, but hopefully we don't get. They shut down the curfew. We did have an 8 p.m. curfew. That was crazy.
I was in bed by 8:15. Whatever.
Never in my life. But whatever.
Ain't nothing else there but cop beatings. So what you gonna do?
I saw what they did to Best Buy. I actually drove by that day. I happened to be there. So let's go by Best Buy. They tore it up.
Yeah.
But you got riots and all over the country. They set a Minneapolis Police Department on fire. So what do? Park heavy equipment in front of your door. Boy, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
I'm pretty sure the last thing he was thinking was, hey, I wonder if somebody's going to drive us through Best Buy today.
Anyway, just leave it.
Willing to roll the dice.
What's worse going to happen? Just leave the keys in or you'll lose them.
This week's review, The Wrong Missy.
Lord.
David Spade in this Happy Madison Netflix collaboration plays Tim. And in
Get the thumbs down from our producer.
His dream girl to an craziness ensues when he invites his dream girl to an island resort. But a previous nightmare of a blind date, played by Laura Lampkin, shows up.
Lauren Lapkus.
What did I say?
I don't even want to repeat it.
Lampkin?
Laura Lapkin? Who's that?
Who's Laura Lampkin?
Blinking, and nod.
Look,
this movie.
I'd say Lauren Lapkus. I think she was very standout in this movie.
Yeah, she was pretty funny.
I think David Spade's wig was very...
It was very distracting.
I got to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Say rubber baby buggy bumpers 5 times fast.
Rubber baby bunkers. Don't even worry about what I'm saying. Nobody talk when I'm talking. So shut the fuck up. Anyway, Robbie D. recommend.
No, wait a minute.
Okay.
They put Happy Madison / Netflix. Happy Madison is like one of the worst movies ever made.
Well,
How is that an advertising point?
Because Happy Madison is the production company. Adam
Gilmore.
You're thinking Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison with
Both equally bad.
Well, Adam Sandler has a following, a devout following that will watch his movies no matter what.
Wow.
There's been some bad ones. There's been some good ones. This was good. This was good.
That'd be
There were more
be a
laughs
first.
in it than you
Listen,
expect.
when you're locked in the house, under
yeah.
containment, there's a lot of stuff out there. You read what you read.
I didn't even like about Saturday Night Live. How is Opera Man funny? In any stretch of the imagination. How is that funny? I'm like,
JV, I missed you. God,
this is
I've never
garbage.
seen somebody hate so many things.
I thought I was the supreme #1 hater, but you've taken my crown. I must say.
I had the crown.
This week,
Been
Ralphie
a Prince of Darkness since 1976.
This week, Ralphie D recommends Ninja 3: The Domination.
Oh God, I saw that movie.
I know you did.
It was not good.
I disagree. Now,
Wow.
it's a canon movie, Golan Globus production, 1984, and starring Lucinda Dickey.
Can I make a recommendation?
No.
Yes, I'm going to make a recommendation. Pass on any movie in the 80s that contains in the title the word ninja. Just put a pass on that.
American Ninja?
Pass.
The Three Ninjas kick back.
Wow.
Including the television shows.
Oh, Lord. Anywho, this was directed by Sam Furstenberg, and it stars Lucinda Dickey in the titular ninja role being nominated. and David Chung is the Black Ninja, and James Hong is in this movie.
It
as well.
doesn't matter.
It matters. This matters. This is a great movie. It's 80s nostalgia.
What was
It's got
that movie
big
that we
hair.
watched, and the first 20 minutes of it was the previous movie set? It was like,
Oh,
we were
that was
watching
with
it.
Sasha Mitchell.
Yeah, was that Ninja 4? Oh, God, I don't know. It was something. I was like, this movie is like 20 minutes into the movie, and they just got up to the third.
The movie was probably 88 minutes long, and the first 22 minutes was the recap of the last movie.
Crazy.
That was hecka funny. Anyway, Ninja 3 Domination. Great movie. Cheesy effects.
Were you awake when you
Awesome.
were watching it?
Oh, wide awake. I was watching it, eyes bugged out. It was one of those movies that always came on cable, and I was like, man, I gotta see this. It's got the girl from Breaking and Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I remember that. It was Special K. That's who that is.
That's who it was.
You gotta say, you said her real name, and I didn't know until you said, yeah, it was Special K was the ninja. She was terrible.
Yeah, I know, but
Get a martial artist. Please.
they should have done that. They should have gotten Cynthia Rock or something.
Cut screen. Chop.
Yeah, all that. It's so bad, it's good though.
Yeah.
Just remember, pass on any movie made in the 80s when the title contains the word
Whoa. What
ninja.
about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Pass.
Oh my
Whoa.
God. Whoa.
You
It's,
never
Whoa.
it's not as good as you think.
I remember I was the original, me and Aaron, or AM I should say, when Turtles were dark and gritty and they blew up Shredder with a grenade and
I didn't know those turtles.
oh, it
I
was
knew
bad.
these turtles
And
first.
then pizza and skateboards, they
Cowboy
ruined
and-
it. They ruined
God,
it.
I love being a turtle.
Wow.
Revenge of the Ninja? You didn't like that one?
Oh.
Enter the Ninja.
Enter the Ninja was bad. Anyway, on
Was it
Cool Water
American
Kurt,
Ninja where he's on the horse, the Olympic horse, and he was doing the
I think that was Jim Cotta.
No,
Gymkhana. Another classic.
That's what's so
He
bad.
was,
It's good.
he was in that white outfit. It never got dirty.
Never got dirty, yeah. We were in love with ninjas in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snake Eyes.
I miss ninjas. I'm Ralphie D, and that's news to me.
I'm Cool Water Kurt. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And I'm JB, and I'd like to say,
Whoa.
Warrior.
We'd like to hear what you think. Leave us a comment down below and let your opinion be heard.
If you like this video, please check out other videos on our channel, like 252 and Nostalgia. JB, it's your turn now.
I've got nothing to say.
He has been locked up till way too
Woo!
long.
JB just got out. Fresh out the joint.
Oh,
Fresh out.
No, I'm JB. Support your local comic book store. Buy those comics. They may be worth something someday.
boy. That's not why I got into comics or buy comics. I buy them because I love to read them.
Yeah.
Well, so do I, but
You
being
also-
worth something is also a big plus.
All right.
I'm looking at like $3,000 worth of comic books right there. It ain't worth a damn thing right now, but I enjoyed them when I was a kid.
Zombie versus Ninja. Ninja Commandments? Bionic Ninja? Are you telling me that these are all bad movies?
Yes.
Yeah, everything you just said.
Without any doubt.
Go
All
watch The Ultimate Ninja.
we're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Adonis, pull yourself together.